All right, everybody, welcome back to Horn Takes, your Texas football and baseball talk destination. I am your host, Sean Redfern. Dominating win over the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks last night. Knew that's what it was going to be. We talked about on Four Keys and a Prediction. It wasn't a matter of if Texas wins, it's by how much does Texas win. They go 4-0 on the season. Only 8 more regular season games left. We're a quarter of the way through the season, and that just don't seem right. It's crazy how the time goes slow when you're trying to get to college football. And then once college football starts, it's like a blink of an eye and it's gone. It is Sunday morning, folks, and that means Drunk Sean Thoughts. I'm going to start doing this on Sunday, and I'm going to add a different show, I think, on Tuesday. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but we're going to have basically 5 episodes a week going forward. Check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. If you just like to listen to podcasts, you can find us on Apple Podcast, iHeart Podcast, Spotify Podcast. You can find us at horntakespodcast.buzzsprout.com. All the episodes go up there. 10 Drunk Sean thoughts from last night. Arch looked human. Threw 2 interceptions last night. Forced the ball a lot last night. You know, a lot of people, and I get it, he played really well coming off the bench last week. He played really well in the spring game. He played okay, I guess, in very limited action last season. There's a lot of people excited about Arch, and I think everybody should be excited about Arch. I think he's a good player. He's going to be an outstanding player. I said the other day on the show, I think Arch Manning's going to be better than Quinn Ewers. Like when we step back in a few years and both of them are gone, hopefully they're both out doing great things in the NFL. I think we're going to look back and say Arch Manning's career at Texas was better than Quinn Ewers' career at Texas. Maybe unfairly. Arch Manning Arch Manning is here in the glory years, right? After the rebuild. Quinn Ewers spent quite a bit of time being part of the rebuild. But Arch and Quinn just have a different style of play. Quinn, first of all, much better pocket presence. I think he knows where he wants to go with the ball immediately. He gets the ball out quicker. Arch looks like he's always looking downfield for the big play. And I think because of that, he forces some balls sometimes. I didn't. One of his interceptions wasn't that bad. Wasn't really bad at all. He hit Jaden Blue right in the hands. It was just an absolute piss missile. He threw that thing. I would like I would like them to put an accelerometer on the football so we can see how fast the football is going, because that was definitely a fastball. Was catchable, should have been caught. Jaden Blue would tell you that himself, I'm sure. But the first one was not good. So Arch Manning's human. When Quinn Ewers returns, it will be his team. Just got done talking a few days ago about Ant Hill and big plays. We said, man, we haven't seen a lot of big plays out of Ant Hill, but we said they were coming. And boy, I mean, it's like, man, that was foreshadowing, immediate foreshadowing. That was a hell of a pick, a hell of a run after the pick. Kind of sucks that a pretty weak penalty, an unnecessary penalty, brought that touchdown back. He had a tackle for loss. I can't remember if it was a sack or not. Drunk Sean was a little drunk. Ryan Wingo might be the best wide receiver on the team. He's just an explosive play waiting to happen. He had another touchdown last night. Another big play down the field, I believe. Ryan Wingo, man. We talked about the receivers back during the summer. We previewed the receivers. And I said I really like Wingo, man. I think Wingo is going to be a big weapon in the red zone because of his length, his height, his size. Just a big dude. His ability to sort of adjust to the ball. Saw that in the spring game on a a really tough play, honestly. He made a really good adjustment on a ball, caught a touchdown in the spring game. I did not, man. I just didn't realize how good he was going to be, man. I really do think he might be the best wide receiver on the team, and that's saying a lot. There's a lot of good receivers on this team. Trey Moore, man, he just looks kind of disinterested out there. I don't know if it's just me, and I don't mean like in a negative way. Like I don't mean like I don't, I don't know. It's kind of odd, man. His body language to me just looks frustrated. He sort of, you know, in between plays, you see other guys running around to get back into position, and he's just kind of, you know, meandering around, and the way he just looks, man, he just looks frustrated or disinterested. Like he's not, it's not happening for him almost. And I think what I'm saying is I feel like he's frustrated with the fact that, you know, he's not making a lot of big plays. Last season, 14 sacks, man. So this season I still don't think he has a sack yet this season. I don't mean any of this negative towards Trey Moore. I just wonder. I wonder if he's. I wonder if he is just kind of frustrated right now. Drunk Sean sees weird stuff during games sometimes. It's no big deal. Too many penalties last night. Some of them legit, some of them not. I thought the officiating was pretty ridiculous. I thought that block in the back. Man, I don't know. I remember having a conversation with my wife about it. I can't remember if I was mad or if I was trying to explain to her why it was a block in the back. I, I just felt like and we talked about this a lot last night. Like the officials just like, dude, the game is not about you. Like this guy must have got paid by appearance or every time he turned the mic on or something. And I know he's not always throwing the flag, but he's the boss. He could tell the other guys to throw the flag. I hate officials. They just absolutely ruin what otherwise might be great games. I thought Bolden had two badass catches, and I don't even care if they overturn one of them. I'm not sure how they overturned that. I don't think he caught it myself, but I don't know how you overturn it because to overturn something, there has to be like clear evidence. In this case, that the ball hit the ground. I don't, I don't think there was ever any evidence that was just absolutely clear for them to overturn that. I mean, obviously they did. He had one early in the game, going out towards the sideline, dove out, made a really nice catch, and then he did the same thing there. Man, hell of an effort, Silas Bolden. Why are we passing the ball up by 30? I know that I said I was going to give up on my running game. I was going to give up on the running game conversation, but I just cannot do it. Do not understand why we won't just run the ball. I think we're going to need to be able to run the ball. Like we're probably going to need to be able to run the ball when we don't want to run the ball. So we got to be able to do that. And y'all hear me talk about it every single week. I talk about these games like this being practice for the big games. Your Georgias, your Oklahomas, your Arkansas, your A&Ms, whoever else. You're going to have to run the ball, man. So I do not understand. We're up by 30 with a backup quarterback who's had it. I mean, it's not like he's struggling. I mean, I don't think Arch Manning struggled at all last night. He just didn't look superhuman like he did the week before. It was a good learning experience for him. Like you learn through failure. He failed a little bit last night. That's all right. It didn't cost us anything. But man, up by 30 and you're still just chunking it around. I don't get it. If there is one negative thing I would say about Steve Sarkisian, that is it. And there's nothing else to talk about as far as negative. I mean, it's hard to argue with the results, but I don't know, man. I just feel like if you can run the ball just Like that drive against Michigan, when Michigan kicked a field goal to make it a 7-3 game early in that game up in Ann Arbor, they just went right down the field running the football in chunks. And that is so demoralizing to a defense, to an opposing team fans. Like, I mean, you're on the road. You want to be able to run the ball and just shut everybody up. You go into Starkville, and by the way, I asked this the other day. I got 0 answers on Twitter. Is it Starkville or Starkville? I say Starkville, but I hear a lot of people say Starkville. I don't know if that's just that part of the country vernacular or if it's generally pronounced Starkville. You go in there, all them damn cowbells. Man, if you can just run the ball, people stop ringing cowbells. So I don't know, man. Sark knows what he's doing. I'm not trying to be critical of Sark. He gets paid a lot of money to do what he's doing. To me, I just feel like they can do it. It's not like they can't run the ball. I don't see any sense in putting your quarterback, your backup quarterback at risk for a lot of things. Injury, you know, confidence crushing type things, which I'm not saying that'll be a problem from Arch or for Arch rather. I'm just saying I don't get it. Let's run the ball a little more, man. Let's beat the piss out of some people on the ground. I mean, you saw it late in the game when it was like, let's just get out of here. I mean, they're just picking up chunks with the second team offensive line, and I'm sure ULM was playing some backups too. But they just, I don't know. Welcome back, Jaden Blue. Hurt last week. 4 touchdowns last night, was it? I think it was 4. 3 for sure. Caught one, ran one, did something else on another one, and something else on another one. I think. Can't remember. I lose count when I'm drinking, except for how many beers I drank, how many Dos Equis I drank. Yeah, I thought he had a real good night. That's what you like to see. This Texas defense, folks, might just be the E word. I don't want to say it. I'm just going to say the E word. They just sub dudes in and they just keep dominating. It doesn't matter. Any of the top 2 guys at their position can be in and out of and sometimes 3, be in and out of this game, in and out of the game, and it does not matter. The defense does not change that much. I think the only place where we see a little bit of drop off maybe is the defensive tackles, the interior. Maybe the linebackers, like maybe they're missing some things. Maybe they're missing some keys. It's hard to know who misses because you don't know what the play call. I mean, you don't know what defense they're in. You don't know who's responsible for what. Don't know who's blitzing. But a couple of times this year, we've seen somebody lose gap responsibility, and we gave up big runs because of it. Man, they just shut that shit down. And ULM likes to run the football, and they're pretty good at it. They just keep getting big plays from everywhere. Like everyone, everywhere, whoever comes in the game, somebody is making a big play on that defense. 2 turnovers last night, I believe, 2 picks. Outstanding. Outstanding. At one point, I looked up at the screen and I saw that ULM had 111 yards of offense. And this was like pretty late in the game. It might have been the end of the game. Just complete domination. I had no idea, folks, that the G was invisible. I've been pronouncing Liunga Lafal's name wrong for the last however long since he came to Texas. I had no idea. I kept wondering why Lowell Galindo kept saying it the way he was saying it. So I asked on Twitter. I found out. I fucked around and found out. Someone said, because that's his name. That's how you pronounce it. And I said, well, I'll be damned. There's an invisible G in Liunga Lafal's name. By the way, we said it before, but that dude's going to be an absolute machine next year in an expanded role. He's going to be a starting linebacker next year. And, man, he is just a playmaker, man. That dude is good. I love watching him play. I love watching number 18 flying around, busting heads. I cannot wait to rewatch this game as sober Sean. You just pick up on a lot more stuff when you're sober than you do when you're having lots of drinks and jumping it. So one of the things I do is if we're at home, if we're not at the game, I got outdoor speakers like out by the pool, and so I turn on Texas Fight and I run and jump in the pool within reason. Like when it gets to be November and the pool is, 60 degrees, 50 we're not doing that. But if it's decent, which it was yesterday, I go do pool jumps. And so I miss stuff, I get back and got to get myself settled in. So I miss stuff being drunk, Sean, that I will not miss on the replay. There's our 10 drunk Sean thoughts for the ULM game. Let me know what you guys think. We'll be back tomorrow with the after action review. We'll do the Trace Ultra Games recap, see if we went 3-0. I think we did, and I think we were like spot on. Maybe not with the score, but with the way that Michigan game would go. We will also put ULM game to bed with some replay thoughts and some statistics, a science-based approach to talking about a football game. Check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. Give us a subscribe or a follow. Will not cost you guys a thing. We appreciate the support, folks. All you folks that follow us, like us, subscribe us, all that stuff, we appreciate it. You can email me at horntakespodcast@gmail.com with all your questions, comments, concerns, and criticisms. I love them all. Have a good rest of the weekend. Get hooked.